yao. Useme emotional health kwa lugha yako. What is emotional health in your language?
Njaka kwa akili.
Kama ujui useme tu emotional health ni sawa. Mpaka wana demonstrate who am I? So we're going to talk about emotional health, and before I get into that, thank you to the readers. You read the word so well to us. And I want to share a story of a man who had a land. And he was a great farmer. And his farm was outstanding. People would actually pass by and admire the crops that were growing on that farm. They were green. And people just pass by and marvel, wow, look at that garden. It looks amazing. And as time went by, there came a season of drought, if not a dry season. There was a very, very, very harsh sun. And so what happened to the soil? It started drying up, and of course losing some minerals. But the farmer did not take time to take care of the soil. So he focused so much on the crops that everybody was praising. And so after the dry season, the plants started drying up. And eventually, after turning yellow, they eventually turned brown. Ikikauka inakuwa brown. Inakuwa white. Eventually the crops dried. Why did they dry? He overlooked what was sustaining the crops, which was the soil. Praise be to God. And you know, some of us are like us this morning. When people look at us, we look happy, we look smart, we go to work, you've come to church, but deep within, there are cracks of pain. There are cracks of frustrations. There are cracks of betrayal. There are cracks of anger. There are cracks of trauma. And if we don't take care of those cracks, eventually we are going to crash. We are putting up a face, we are smiling, we are singing in the choir, we are leading the praise and worship, we are sitting in this congregation, but deep within us, things are not okay. And that's why God is calling me and you this morning, that it is high time, because He is interested in your inner being, because it is out of the abundance of your heart that you're able to see exactly who you are. Praise be to God. And so as we look at the topic, or as we talk about the topic of emotional health, I want you, as you're seated there, try to do an introspection about yourself. What exactly is it that you're going through? What is it that you've been trying to cover up by being that joker that you are, being that person that is smiling that deep within your heart? What is it that you have been covering? And we experience different emotions, because they actually say emotion is more or less the state of the heart. You are either feeling happy, you're feeling sad, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling jealous, you're feeling happy, you feel disgusted. I don't know what feeling you have this morning, but all these explain what emotions are. And therefore, as we're talking about emotional health, we are basically asking ourselves, or we are saying, how well can I manage all these feelings that I'm experiencing as challenges of life come my way, or as I go through the challenges of life? How do I manage all these emotions? When I am frustrated, how do I deal with that? When I am disappointed, how do I address that? When I'm going through loss, how do I process it? When I'm heartbroken, how do I deal with that? And that's basically what we are asking. And to be precise, I want us to focus on our families. Are our families healthy emotionally? And I start with a disclaimer and say that my family can only be emotionally healthy if I am emotionally healthy. I'm able to handle and manage my emotions. My husband is able to do the same, and our children are able to do the same. And therefore, we can stand and say that our family is healthy emotionally. Praise be to God. And so, why are we talking about emotional health when it comes to our family or emotional health in our families? We cannot do without emotional health, because it is that emotional health Sisi ni watu wa attitude from Monday to Sunday or Monday to Monday. Can you imagine the kind of a church we'll be having? We are the people who are ever jolly, happy, smiling Monday to Monday. What happens when we encounter challenging situations and circumstances in our lives? So emotional health is very key when it comes to our families because it improves our relationships. I'm able to cross paths with my children, and it gets to a point I express my disappointment in their actions, we forgive each other, and we move on. We go through a trying moment as a family. One of us loses a job, one of us is unwell. We are heartbroken, we are disappointed, we are sad, but together we can come, encourage each other, and move on. Praise be to God. People's Warden has just shared with us how he's impressed by the way we've been going to the aid of those who are going through challenges. So in their low moments, we've been there to stand and support them. That means as a church, at least we have one command there. We are carrying each other's burden. And that enhances that relationship. Imagine the person that you went to console, or even comfort, or even pray with. They will never forget you as a fellowship. They'll never forget you as a church. And what will happen in return? The person will be talking highly about us, and the person will be looking forward to come and fellowship with us. So emotional health enhances relationships, not only in our families, in our places of work, in our places of worship, and even in our community. Emotional health also enhances our resilience. Imagine if you are a person without emotions. You don't know what it means to be sad, you don't know what it means to be happy, you don't know what it means to be angry, you don't know what it means to be heartbroken. What will be the difference between you and that seat that you're seated on? See, the difference will be the same. Because the seat doesn't feel any pain, doesn't feel any anger, doesn't feel any frustration. So it will be just like the seat that you're seated on. And I ask, then how will you navigate the issues of life? So emotions normally help us to have a fallback. When you're going through a trying moment, for example, you've lost a job. Do you cry from January to December? No, you just cry that 1 month, maybe at most. Because when it goes beyond a month, then you become my client. And you'll have to pay me to work with you. Because now that will not be crying, it will be mourning. And I will need to have to help you process that grief. So imagine you lose a job and you are crying from January to December. Honestly, you'll either become sick or you become a prayer item, or both. So when we're talking about emotional health, we are saying that it is very important because it helps us to bounce back. Today I have lost a job, I will feel bad that week, I will cry, I will lament, but in 2-3 weeks, I will recollect myself and go out and start looking for another job. When I am heartbroken, I will feel very disappointed. Vijana mpo. Young people, are you there? Allow me to address you. If a guy breaks the heart of a lady, it is very disappointing for those who have experienced. Msikaange ni kama mjuangi hizo vitu, mnatuambia kama mkupitie hizo. Mlioa mwenye mlidetu wa kwanza, mwenye mumeoa. Yeah? Can you encourage our young people? Because when they are heartbroken by their lovers, if not their loved people, their loved ones, they are getting to that point of, if I can't have you, nobody else will. And what do they do in return? They either take their life or they destroy the life of the person that has broken his or her heart. But a person who is emotionally healthy, they will mourn the loss of the relationship and get to a point of telling himself or herself, it is okay, he was not meant to be mine. It is okay, she was not meant to be mine. Recollect yourself and embark on the journey of going back to the drawing board. Praise be to God. Amen. So emotions are important because they help us to fall back. You're able to go through a phase and then you find your footing. Emotional health is also important because it boosts our physical health. When you're not emotionally healthy, how can you Na wakati mwingi tunasema ni nini? Wakati uko mgonjwa na ugonjwa haupatikani, we say it's what? Si useme, si nini? Si nini? Wanasema ni nini?
Narogwa.
Ni kurogwa. When you are emotionally sick, physically, you will be sick. You will be having those migraines. You will be having those chest pains, back pains, stomach aches. You are sick. Literally, your body is sick. But you go to the hospital, your blood work clean. Any test, negative. Work on the emotions. Praise be to God. Are you seeing that family member in your family? Emotional health is also important because it boosts our mental health. Afya ya akili. When you're struggling with anger, emotionally you're not stable, and mentally it can destabilize you. You can get into an action that will cost your career, that can cost your family. So you've heard of people who threaten, I will slash you, and by the time the sentence is done, you're already in slices. There are some people, when they don't manage their emotions, you're going through loss, you don't process the loss, then it becomes a mental problem and you end up sinking into a depression. So emotional health is very significant. So what are the marks of an emotionally healthy family? How do you know that your family is healthy emotionally, or it has emotional health? Number one, it is a family that communicates openly. This is a family that does not beat around the bush. Things are not okay in my family. We sit, we call them by name, and we address them. It doesn't matter it is coming from who. We are a family. They sit and they talk about their issues openly, without judging, without blaming. We are talking about the subject that is eating us up here. Praise be to God. Your dad has lost a job. What does that mean for him and for us as a family? Because you know, for some of us, when the breadwinner loses a job, we are putting on a face because we don't want the children to know what you are going through. Eventually they will. Because whatever you're providing for them when you're working, you're not in a position to provide now. And if you don't tell them, the neighbor will. And what are you telling your children? That you're not a truthful man. You're not a truthful mother. You're not a truthful father. So for an emotionally healthy family, this is a family where they communicate openly and honestly. They don't hide things from each other. And number two, it is a family that has emotional safety. This is a family that any of the family member can just walk in, express whatever they think and feel without fear of being judged. Simokwa mkisikia wakisema, we listen when we don't judge. They don't do it as a game. They mean it. A daughter can walk in and tell mom and dad, I have something to share with you. I am sorry life happened and I am pregnant. And I don't know the father of the baby. And the mother will not explode, the father will not explode, but they will hold the daughter by the hand and walk with the daughter. Praise be to God. This is a family that a child will be expelled from school, and instead of the father or the mother lashing on the daughter from the office of the principal all the way from home, they will be seeking to know, tell me exactly what happened, what went wrong, and how can I be of help. Na mtoto anakufungukia because they are feeling I am safe in this particular space. That's a very emotionally healthy family. And the other mark of an emotionally healthy family is that they have the ability to resolve their conflicts peacefully. Wakikosana, hata jirani next door, yule ambaye wanashare ukuta na yeye, hata jua. Watoto, mama na baba wakikosana, hawatajua. Some of us growing up, we used to think that our parents were angels because we never had them exchange words with each other. We and it will become a nested issue. Not because we called them for a meeting, but there's shouting that will be happening in that house. Kila mtu atajua. So an emotionally healthy family, they know how to resolve their conflicts peacefully. And finally, it is a family that knows how to support each other in difficult times. Ni familia ambayo mtu akipatwa na jambo wanakaa kama familia na wanasimama naye na wanatembea naye until the storm is over. There's some families, but I want to believe they're not in Emmanuel. You go through a challenge in life, na unakuwa brother, sister, pambana na an emotionally healthy family. They are always there, having the back of each other, praying for each other, encouraging each other, and walking with each other in difficult and even in beautiful moments. Praise be to God. And so probably you're asking, Priscilla, then, how do I see to it that I have or I cultivate that emotional health within my family? 4 things that I'll be done. How do we then build an emotionally healthy family? Number 1, from the readings that we read from Psalm 77 verse 1 to 9, and then the second reading from the Old Testament, Lamentation chapter 3 verse 1 to 20. If you want to build an emotionally healthy family, then you must, as an individual and as a family, learn to acknowledge and talk about your emotions. Learn to acknowledge, that is number 1, and number 2, talk about those emotions. Most of the times we tend to think and we feel it is wrong to experience emotions. I'm here to tell you it is very okay. And it is very godly, by the way, if you can make it look saved. It is very godly to have emotions. Our God speaks of being a God of compassion. Compassion is an emotion. Our God talks of being a jealous God. And jealousy is an emotion. Jesus Christ wept when he went to visit Lazarus and he found that he was dead. And he wept, he cried, he wept. See, hallelujah. Hizo si emotions. Na sisi tumeokoka, hatutaki ku acknowledge tuna struggle na emotions. It is very godly to experience those emotions. In fact, they are God-given. And so if you want to have a healthy family, the readings that we read, uliona mwandishi wa Zaburi alianza na kusema, I cried out to God. Do you cry to God when you're happy? Yes and no. At times, you have tears of joy, you know. And joy is an emotion. But as we continue